How much do we really know about the ongoing conflict in Gaza? This is a question that often goes unanswered, and for good reason. The complexities of the Gaza conflict are vast, and its impacts are far-reaching. But today, let's shed some light on the unseen aspects of this ongoing struggle, the escalating violence, and the rising death toll. At the heart of the conflict is the Islamic resistance movement, known as Hamas, and the impact of Israel's airstrikes on the densely populated region of Gaza. The cost of the conflict is staggering, with nearly 5,800 Palestinians reported dead as a result of these airstrikes since October 7th. The Gaza Ministry of Health has described these victims as martyrs, a term that underscores the perceived sacrifice these individuals have made. But what is particularly heart-wrenching about this conflict is the significant number of child casualties. Out of the nearly 5,800 lives lost, around 2,360 were children. That's roughly 4 out of every 10 victims. These are not just numbers, but lives cut short, dreams unfulfilled, futures denied. The conflict has also left approximately 18,000 wounded, some with injuries that will change their lives forever. Every single one of these individuals has a story, a family, a home that they've seen shattered by the relentless violence. But the impacts of the conflict go beyond the immediate casualties. The infrastructure of Gaza is in ruins, with homes, hospitals, and schools reduced to rubble. The healthcare system is on the brink of collapse, with hospitals overwhelmed by the number of patients and a lack of essential supplies. In the face of such adversity, it's easy to feel helpless. But it's important to remember that every conflict has unseen aspects, untold stories, and unheard voices, and it's our responsibility to bring these to light. The cost of conflict is not just counted in numbers, but in the lives forever changed. Behind the conflict lies a humanitarian crisis that is often overlooked. The Gaza Strip, a densely populated area, is currently experiencing a devastating health and humanitarian emergency. Hospitals already strained due to the ongoing conflict are now beyond their limits. The Al-Shifa hospital, for instance, is overwhelmed with patients. The health situation teeters on the brink of collapse. Overcrowding is a significant issue with the increasing number of casualties. We often hear about the casualties of war, but rarely do we hear about the hospitals struggling to accommodate them. The number of wounded is rising rapidly, and the medical facilities are unable to keep up with the demand. In some cases, health officials have had to resort to storing bodies in ice cream freezer trucks due to the lack of space in cemeteries, a chilling testament to the scale of the crisis. But the crisis does not end there. With Israel ordering the evacuation of over 1 million Palestinians, concerns of a larger humanitarian disaster loom on the horizon. The displacement of such a large number of people can lead to a host of other problems, including lack of access to basic necessities like food, water, and shelter. The potential for disease outbreak also increases with displacement and overcrowded living conditions. Children, the most vulnerable group, are not spared from this crisis. They make up a significant proportion of the casualties, with thousands of children among the wounded and dead. The psychological trauma inflicted on these young ones from witnessing and experiencing such violence is incalculable and will likely have long-lasting impacts. The crisis in Gaza is not just a conflict, it's a humanitarian disaster. It's a situation where everyday life has been turned upside down, where survival is a struggle, and where the future remains uncertain. This is the unseen side of the conflict, a side that needs to be acknowledged and addressed urgently. The media plays a crucial role in bringing the situation in Gaza to the world's attention. Journalists and photojournalists, both local and international, are the eyes and ears of the world. They brave the dangers of conflict zones, putting their lives on the line to document the realities on the ground. Their work is instrumental in raising awareness about the human cost of the conflict. Unfortunately, this crucial task comes with significant risks. In the heat of the conflict, 17 journalists have made the ultimate sacrifice. These brave individuals lost their lives in the pursuit of truth, a stark testament to the perils of their profession. Despite the inherent danger, the work of these journalists is vital. Their reporting shapes our understanding of the conflict, reminding us of the human stories behind the headline. Whether it is capturing the grief-stricken faces of families or the devastated cityscapes, Their images and stories bring the stark realities of war into our living rooms. The risk to journalists is a stark reminder of the dangers of conflict and the importance of their work. The aftermath of the conflict is a stark reminder of the long-term impact of violence. The infrastructure of Gaza, already strained, now faces the monumental task of rebuilding. Homes, hospitals, schools, structures that once stood firm, now lay in ruins. But it's not just the buildings that have been affected, the animals too bear the scars of this conflict. Animal welfare groups in Gaza have been working tirelessly to provide care for street dogs and cats injured during the recent hostilities. These groups are treating wounded animals, providing them with medication, food, and shelter, despite the challenges. They found dogs wounded by shrapnel, horses injured in airstrikes. It's a testament to the ripple effects of violence, how it reaches the most vulnerable, the most innocent. But amidst the rubble, there's a resilience that stands tall. The people of Gaza, though battered and bruised, are determined to rebuild. They're picking up the pieces, restoring what can be restored, mourning what can't. They're tending to the wounded, both human and animal, and standing firm in the face of adversity. The aftermath of the conflict in Gaza is a testament to the resilience of its people and a call to action for the rest of the world. Awareness is the first step towards change. It's a powerful statement, one that rings especially true when we look at the heartbreaking situation in Gaza. We've talked about the devastating impact of the conflict, the staggering loss of life, and the resilience of the human spirit. Now it's time to ask ourselves, what can we do? Understanding the human cost of this conflict is crucial. Behind every number, every statistic, there's a story. A family torn apart, a child's future extinguished. And it's these stories that can truly spur us into action. But let's not forget, change is not just about understanding, it's about acting on that understanding. So, how can we help? We can start by spreading the word. Share the stories, the struggles, the triumphs, and the tragedies. Talk about it with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Use your social media platforms to shed light on the situation. The more we talk about it, the harder it becomes for the world to ignore. We can also stand up for peace. Advocate for a peaceful resolution, for open dialogues, and for justice. Because every life lost in this conflict is a reminder of our collective failure to uphold the most basic human right, the right to live. In the face of such adversity, your voice matters. Share what you've learned, spread awareness, and stand for peace.